Hi and welcome to Geeks First. Can I have a quick +1 in the chat if I'm visible as well as equally audible? Then we would start right away. Let me just turn on my preview screen so that I know that I'm fairly visible. Okay, so we have a lot of people waiting for me. Okay, I'm extremely sorry. Today I'm a bit late. Hi Shudanshu, hi Manav, hi Satrabrat, hi Engineer, hi Areb, hi Keper, hi Ankit, hi Shubham. Okay. We have a lot of +1. Okay, so we would be waiting for the next 1 minute and you can ask the doubts from the last session. Okay, just check it. Satyabrat Ojha, can you please check from your end? Because from my end, it's absolutely fine. We have 0 frame drops. We are live for 1.3 minutes. And the CPU usage and the frame rate is absolutely very great. I'm a snake. Okay, fair enough. But I don't like Python. Okay, for the people, is there anyone who has not received my mail that I drafted today? Or everyone received it? Everyone was notified about this class. By the way, there is one more notification that is to be passed on to you. The notification is the link to the practice problem would be given by me tomorrow itself. Okay, not today because today I'm a little bit tired and I would be sleeping after this session. So I would be providing you with the problem set tomorrow itself. Fair enough. Let's start with today's session. We would be first completing the coding part of next greater element. Now first, for the people who don't know what is next greater element, thanks a lot, Deepak. Okay, fair enough. Next greater element. What is the next greater element? It is just like right में देखा. Okay, right में देखा. तो राइट में देखने से जो मेरे से थोड़ा बड़ा होगा वो जो दिखेगा वही है मेरा नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट. ओके, इफ आई सी ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड, okay, and the element is just more than my height, is the next greater element. Suppose there is 2, there is 1, there is 3 itself. So for this 2, the next greater element is this 3, and for this one, the next greater element is this 3 itself. That is why this is it. Okay, fair enough. So next, moving on to the coding part. Let's move to the coding part. Sublime text. Okay, by the way, many people have requested me in the feedback form itself that what setup I use. I use the Sublime text setup with the competitive companion extension and fast Olympic coding. Okay, fair enough. So let's just start. So we would be initializing a stack itself. I won't be taking the input and all because that is already int and c, then int a of n and for loop and then c in a of I. That is absolutely very understood. Fair enough. So we now would be doing what? We would be iterating from the array itself. Iterating on the array itself, but there is one thing that needs to be understood. What is that one thing that needs to be understood? Okay, always, okay, that is the golden rule. Okay, so just I am writing just golden rule. Please, wherever you are noting all this down, please note this down. Okay, don't directly access the top element. Okay, don't directly access the top element, okay, before checking. What do I mean by this? So this is a kind of disclaimer when you use stack itself. Okay, what is this disclaimer? ये डिस्क्लेमर ये है कि जब भी आप टॉप एलिमेंट को एक्सेस करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो उसके पहले ये देख लो कि उसमें कोई एलिमेंट्स है भी या नहीं. Whenever you are trying to listen to love songs, please look into that. You are not single. Okay, you are committed. that the same thing belongs to the stack also. Before directly accessing the top element, you need to check if there is any element that exists in the stack or not. Please do remember this, otherwise you would get a segmentation fault and you would be busy debugging that code for the rest of the day and you would be finding this lame problem. Fair enough, let's move forward with this thing. So first we need to check if the stack is empty. If the stack is empty, we would do nothing but rather insert that element. चुपचाप उसे insert कर, ज़्यादा कुछ सोचना नहीं है. If the stack st.empty is true, this means that it is true, then st.push the current element. पुश कर दो भाई current element को, उतना सोचना वचना है नहीं. उसके बाद the next thing that we need to do is let's just draw 2, 1 and 3. Okay, so first I came forward to 2. 2 was not in the stack, so simply insert it. Then 1 was less than the last element that is inserted, so we would just say that we would take out the top element. If st.top is greater than the current element, that is 2 के बाद 1 आया, तो we would insert it ना. So st.push the current element. If that is not the case, so we would keep popping out till this 3 is greater than these numbers. So we would take out this 1 and say that yes, for this 1 the next greater element is 3, for this 2 the next greater element is this one, and suppose we have 4, 2, 1, 3, so we would pop these two. Why we would pop these two and say that this is the next greater element? Because ये दोनों उस current element से छोटा है. Fair enough. So what I would do is, while the stack is not empty, पहले check कर लिया कि ये stack में कुछ elements तो होने ही चाहिए. While the stack is not empty and st.top is less than the current element, then what I would do, see out st.top with the next greater element as the current element. Okay, we would do this till we have this. Okay, so top तो निकाल लिया, top का काम खत्म, तो st.pop भी कर दो, मतलब उसके वहां से stack से बाहर निकाल दिया. We would just take out that element from the stack itself. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so yeah, so then we would do what? Now everything is done, we would insert the current element. So st.push the current element itself. Okay, fair enough, this is done, this was it. So we would just do int n, then cin n to show you. Okay, I'm sorry, int n and then cin n, and then we have a of size n, and then we would run a for loop, int I is equals to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus, and then we would take the input of ai. Okay, so what are we basically doing here? We are taking the input of n, then we are making an array of size n, then we are taking all the elements of the array a itself. If the stack is empty, ज़्यादा सोचना नहीं है, रख दो. If the top element is greater than the current element, उसको डाल दो. Or we would keep popping the element till the top element is less than the current element. Okay, and we would simply push the current element. Fair enough, all this is done. Now after all this is done, whatever elements would be remaining, the next greater element of them would be the -1. मतलब उनका next greater element है नहीं. So while the stack is not empty, okay, then we would see out the top element and we would make it as -1, and this is done itself. Now let me just run it and then you can ask your doubts. Okay, so we should implement endl also. Okay, so for 4 we have nothing, for 3 we have nothing, for 2 we have nothing, for 1 we have nothing. Let's just change this array to suppose 4, then 2, then 1, then 3 itself, and then do an end line, and this is done. Let's see now. Okay, so for 3 it is -1, for 1 it should be 3, for 2, okay, we are, if this while the stack is not empty, now this should be clear. Yeah, so for 1 the next greater element is equals to 3, for 2 the next greater element is also equals to 3, for 4 the next greater element is also equals to nothing, for 3 the next greater element is also equals to nothing. So this is the whole algorithm to solve this problem. Now tell me, what are the problem that you have regarding this question? So these are the line numbers. Mention the line numbers and I would explain you from the very detailing part. Just tell me from where you have the problem. Let me just remove the annotations too, so that you would be having absolutely no issue in asking doubts. Okay, what क्यों हुआ है, इस पार्ट में ऐसा क्यों हुआ, उस पार्ट में ऐसा क्यों हुआ है? Ask me those questions. I'm waiting for those questions. And I have been, let me have a upper bound to this waiting. Okay, let's not have an upper bound. And you can take your time to digest this question and then ask me doubts. Solve this question in a pen and paper and you would be able to understand this. 23 to 27, कहाँ है 23 to 27? यहाँ है. Okay, fair enough. So what is this? So 23 to 27 is something like 4, 2, 1 and 3. So पहले 4 तो डाल दिया, 4 डाल दिया, फिर we have 2, 2 तो इससे छोटा डाल दिया, फिर 1 इससे छोटा डाल दिया. But 3 is the next greater element of this, 3 is the next greater element of this. So we are observing that जितने भी एलिमेंट इस नंबर से लेस है वो सारे के नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट ये 3 ही है. सो वी वुड कीप डूइंग इट, कीप पॉपिंग इट. टॉप एलिमेंट निकाला और से दैट करंट एलिमेंट इज योर नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट, फिर उसको निकाल भी दिया. आफ्टर ऑल दिस इज डन वी आर अगेन इंसर्टिंग द करंट एलिमेंट. बेसिकली क्या कर रहे हैं ना कि सोचो कि मैं यहां खड़ा हूं, ठीक है, यहां पे. ओके जस्ट अ सेक. ओके सोचो मैं यहां खड़ा हूं, ठीक है, मेरे आगे मेरे से छोटे वाली हाइट की खड़ी है, उसके आगे छोटे वाली हाइट की खड़ी है, फिर एक लंबा चौड़ा सा इंसान है. फेयर इनफ. सो उस लंबा चौड़ा सा इंसान हम सब के लिए तो नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट है, बट मेरे पीछे एक बहुत बड़ा आदमी है, उसके लिए तो नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट तो वो है नहीं. तो क्या करना है, वो जो लंबा चौड़ा इंसान है उसके लिए नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट हम कब तक है, जब तक पहला वाला इंसान उसको उठाएगा बाहर फेंक देगा, मेरे को उठा बाहर फेंक दिया, इसको उठा बाहर फेंक दिया, मेरे को उठा बाहर फेंक दिया, फिर मेरे पीछे जो लंबा चौड़ा इंसान है उसके लिए वो नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट नहीं है भाई. दैट इज इट. Yeah, take 5 minutes to digest. It's absolutely fine. Okay, tell me. Now tell me where are you having issue? Line number 20. Why can't I write all the above in while loop? Yeah, you can use while loop. But this is the most standard way in which people write. That is why I chose this thing. You can use while loop, you can use a functional, okay, whatever you wish you can. But this is the most standard and most intuitive way. That's why I went with this way. Now, okay. तो सपोज मैं क्या हो रहा है ना कि सपोज मैं इतना लंबा हूँ, ठीक है, मेरे आगे यहाँ तक है, फिर यहाँ तक है, फिर यहाँ तक है. नाउ सपोज मेरे आगे जो है वो यहाँ तक है, तो मेरे इसके नीचे जितना जन है उसके जो नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट ये वाला तो होगा ही ना. सो वी वुड कीप पॉपिंग एलिमेंट्स, कीप पॉपिंग एलिमेंट्स जब तक ये एलिमेंट से छोटे एलिमेंट्स इसके नीचे है. उसको निकाल दो. Time complexity is O(n) square. No, it is not. I would explain you. Okay. So this for loop is from 0 to n minus 1. Less than n means n minus 1. So this for loop is going from 0 to n minus 1. This means that this for loop is doing an operation. Fair enough. Now एक एलिमेंट को अंदर डालो, ओके, एक एलिमेंट को बाहर निकालो, and each element is pushed in the stack once, taken out from the stack once, pushed in the stack once, taken out from the stack once. Okay, so in all this, at max 2 operations would be done, and the time complexity would be big O of 2n. But as the constants are ignored, that is why the time complexity is big O of n itself. Okay, fair enough. So what are we doing is, basically we are taking each element, putting it to the stack, okay, and then we are checking if it is needed or not, and then whatever is remaining उसको बाहर निकाल के फेंक दिया. That is what we are doing. सारे elements को लाओ, अंदर रखो, बाहर निकाल के फेंक दिया. एट मैक्स 2 ही ऑपरेशन हो रहे हैं, एक बार एलिमेंट अंदर आ रहा है, एक बार एलिमेंट बाहर निकल रहा है. सो बेसिकली वी आर डूइंग एट मैक्स बिग O ऑफ 2n operations. Constants are ignored. That is why the time complexity is big O of n. Okay, now tell me if the time complexity, and you need to tell me the space complexity. This is the question for you. You need to tell me the space complexity. Space complexity क्या है बताओ? At max, what would be the space complexity? Bhaiya, can you debug the code? Yeah, I would be showing you a way how I debug my code. I would be showing you a way. Don't worry about that. Okay, now tell me if this thing is clear or not. Then we would talk a little bit about debugging, and then we would move forward. Yes, the Sudhanshu is absolutely correct. Sudhanshu and Kethi Reddy is absolutely correct. The space complexity is big O of n. So Rishi, Rufus and Oja, you are absolutely correct. Fair enough. Okay, so अब तुम लोग को समझ में आने लगा है. Most of the time जो स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है ना, उसको ज्यादा ध्यान देना नहीं है. क्यों? मैं बता रहा हूं. क्योंकि स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी वुड जस्ट बी नोटिसिंग एट विच डेटा स्ट्रक्चर यू आर यूजिंग टू स्टोर द डेटा, और एट मैक्स कितने डेटा उस पर स्टोर हो सकते हैं. ओके, समराइज कर दो एक बार. ओके, फेयर इनफ. एक बार समराइज कर देते क्विकली. सो क्या कर रहे हैं ना, वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड द नेक्स्ट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड. Quickly summarize कर देते हैं. We are trying to find the next greater element on the right hand side. Suppose this is 4, 2, 1 and 3. So the next greater element for 1 is 3, next greater element for 2 is 3, and for the next greater element of 3 is -1 and 4 is -1. क्योंकि इसका next greater element right hand side पे तो है ही नहीं. Fair enough. Now what we are doing is we are inserting the current element if the stack is empty. Fair enough. So we are inserting the current element if the stack is empty. Then we are coming across 2, which is less than the last inserted element. So we would insert it. Next we would insert this one because this is also less than the last inserted element. So we would also insert it. Now we are coming across 3, which is greater than the last inserted element. So 3 ko rakho yahan, and we would say that the next greater element is the next greater 3 is the next greater element of 1. 3 is the next greater element of 2, but 3 can't be the next greater element of 4. Why? Because 4 is greater than 3. So 3 is the next greater element of 1 and 2. Now एक element एक ही बार stack के अंदर जा रहा है, एक ही बार stack के बाहर आ रहा है. Talking this in English is that one element is inserted in the stack only once and taken out from the stack once. That is why the space complexity, the time complexity is big O of 2n, but the constants are ignored in time complexity. So the time complexity is big O of n, and then auxiliary stack is used to calculate the answer. So the space complexity is big O of n. Now tell me if this thing is clear or not. Okay. Fair enough. थक गया bro. Okay. Now we would talk a little bit about debugging. Debugging ज़्यादा कुछ hard है नहीं. So let me just show you my template. This is my debugging template which I use. Okay, these are all my macros. This is the debugging template, and this debugging template works only if there is an online judge. If you want to know more about this debugging template, just connect with me on LinkedIn, as debugging is out of the scope of this syllabus. If you still want, and the request is absolutely very high, then I would schedule a different session which would talk only about debugging only, because debugging has many aspects to it. Arrays cannot be directly debugged, and there is debugger, and there is also a debugger, and we can debug in different ways. That is why this is absolutely out of the scope of this syllabus. सर मुझे स्टैक नहीं पता पर वेक्टर पता है. Okay, we can solve this problem using vector 2, because every stack problem can be solved using vector. Okay, बोल तो दिया, इसका मीनिंग क्या है? बोल तो दिया every stack problem can be solved using vector, but इसका मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is that a vector का last element vector dot back निकालने में जो time complexity है, that is big O of 1, and stack is also big O of 1. So we can access the last element of a vector in constant time as well as in stack also, and we can pop back the element of the vector as well as the stack in constant time complexity. So in terms of time complexity, vector and stack are absolutely very same, and you can use them vice versa. Now, but vector has more advantage than stack itself. In stack, random access is not there, but in vector, random access is there. Are stack and queue different data structure in Python? And Ananya, I'm extremely sorry, I'm not that much well versed with Python. Okay, so you just need to Google search it. Okay, and let me know too, if possible. If you have a bandwidth, then you can let me know too. Okay, fair enough. Now let's have a quick recap about how many of you want a recap about stack data structure, that is last in first out. What is the meaning of last in first out? Quickly tell me how many of you want a recap of this. Else we would move to the main agenda of today's topic, that is searching and sorting. And we have a lot of things to cover, to be honest. So quickly tell me. I won't be waiting much. जल्दी जल्दी बताओ. रूफस, ऋषि, ओझा, अजय, सुधांशु, मानव, अनन्या, जल्दी बताओ. सुधांशु, जल्दी बताओ. Do you want a revision of stack or can we move forward? Okay, some people do want a revision of stack. So quickly एक stack का मैं revision देता हूँ. Stack is nothing but rather keeping the books on the top of each other. एक बायो बुक है, एक मैथ्स बुक है, एक बायो बुक है, एक मैथ्स बुक है. So let me just draw it so that it would be more clear. Stack, as the name suggests, is just like the normal thing. Okay, so this is just like, suppose this is the bio book, and then we have the chemistry book which I would draw. Okay, and then I would again draw, and this is the maths book. Okay, fair enough. As the name suggests, this would be called as the top element. So if we just access the top element, this would be the top element. If we pop the top element, then this math book would get popped out. Okay, so this is known as popping, removing the top element. Inserting, if we insert the top element, then it would be kept above the chemistry book. उसके बाद उसके ऊपर में उसके ऊपर में फिर वो तो पार ही कर जाएगा, अब उतना तो मेरा बैंडविड्थ है भी नहीं. Okay, fair enough. Let's move to our topic, that is sorting. Okay, first we would complete sorting. Sorting में बहुत सारे algorithms है. There are different ways of there are different algorithms to sort. Okay, now what is basically sorting? When we are given an unsorted array, we can sort an array. What do I mean by this? This means that suppose I have been given that 1, 5, 2 and 3 and then 1 itself. So ये एक particular ascending order को follow नहीं कर रहे हैं. Okay, we want a particular ordering of this thing. Okay, so if I order this in ascending order, this would be 1 and then 1, then 2 and then 5 itself. So this is the ascending order of this thing. Okay, so this is just it. Okay, so now there are different ways of sorting a particular. First we should start with bubble sort, then we should move to merge sort, then we have quick sort. Okay, then we have quick sort, and with bubble sort we also have selection sort, and then we have counting sort. Okay, this is the way in which sorting should be learned. First we should learn about bubble sort and selection sort. Next, the next day we should learn about merge sort, which is a divide and conquer algorithm. We would learn a little bit about merge sort because merge sort is very important in interview perspective, and then we should learn about quick sort, and then we should learn about counting sort. Yeah, we have radix and insertion sort too. Insertion sort is absolutely necessary, but radix sort and bucket sort and these all sorting are not that much important in interview perspective, but some companies do ask. Yeah, but these, if you have learned these all sorting, then I think that this is enough, because DSA is very vast and you need to cover a lot of things. So smart study is absolutely very necessary. Like, let me give you an example. Like, we have Prim's algorithm for minimum spanning tree and we have Kruskal's algorithm for minimum spanning tree, and both works the same. But if we learn about Kruskal's algorithm for minimum spanning tree, that is MST, then that is enough. We don't need Prim's algorithm. I don't know Prim's algorithm, and that is absolutely fine. We need to do smart work. We need to selectively study the topics to ace this exam. Okay, everyone is just running. We have such a competitive environment. We can't just wait and mug up all the topics that is available right there. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we would be so bubble sort, selection sort. So let's just first sort this using the sorting that is available in the C++ itself. Okay. So C++ also has an inbuilt sorting, and the time complexity of this sorting is n log n. Okay, so we would take n, then we would take the input of n, then we would have an array of n, then we would have a for loop int I is equals to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, then we would see in the array itself. So 4 2 1 3, yeah, this is fine itself. Yeah, this is fine. Now what we would do is we would just do sort of a comma a plus n itself. Okay, अब इसका हो गया. अब we would see a magic itself. Okay, so prepare yourself to see a magic. Now we would just replace it with cout. उसके बाद we would have a spacing thing, and then we would just print it. Okay, now this is sorted itself. Okay, if we can use sort, then why it is needed? Yeah, absolutely true. If you can marry, then why you need to entice a girl? If you can marry, then why would you have a girlfriend? You can directly marry. Okay, still I would answer your question with proper reason. Okay, this was not the proper reason. Fair enough. So what this is, 4 2 1 3 has been sorted to 1 2 3 4. Fair enough, this is sorted. But what is this line? First we have entered a and we have entered a plus n. To understand this, let us go and learn about a very important thing, that is iterators. Okay, iterators. What is this iterator? So suppose we have 4, 2, 1 and 3. Okay, so if we, and this is the array A itself, okay, separated by comma. So the first element would be called as A, and the second element would be called as A plus 1, and the third element would be called as A plus 2, and the fourth element would be called as A plus 3, and the next element would be called as A plus 4. So when n was equal to 4, this means that we are asking that yeah, till this point. So basically क्या कर रहा है, whenever we want to sort a particular thing, then we mention the starting point and the ending point, but the ending point is not included. From starting to ending -1. Okay, okay, so what is the thing? So basically क्या होता है, हम लोग एक रेंज प्रोवाइड करते हैं, एक रेंज प्रोवाइड किया, सपोज यहाँ से यहाँ एक रेंज दिया, so it would be sorted from this to this, but this won't be sorted. Last वाला range is not included. The starting range is included, but the last range is not included. Please remember this, because whenever you talk about next permutation, whenever you talk about binary search, you would be coming across this iterator thing. Okay, you can't skip this iterator. Without recursion, without iterators, you can't do anything. If you belong from a different language, then it's absolutely fine. But if you want to ace in C++, then you need to bear iterators and you need to learn about iterators. Okay, so now let us go and see the effect of iterators. Okay, see the effect. So I said that yes, सारे को sort कर दो. Okay, sort all the elements from 4 to 1 and leave the last element. How to do it? We would do simply nothing, but this is A and this is A plus 1, this is A plus 2 and this is A plus 3. So simply we would write A plus 3 and the last element won't be sorted. The last element would remain at the same position, rather the rest of the element is sorted. Okay, this is why iterators is absolutely very important. Okay, now let us do the same thing in the case of vector itself. Vector, okay, vector में कैसे होगा? Okay, so we would do int and then c in, and then we would have a vector of int and then v, and then for loop int I is equals to 0, I is less than n and I plus plus, and we would declare the size of the vector as n, and then we would have c in of, and then we would have c in of v of I itself, and then we would sort v dot begin to v dot end. Okay, and then we would print this. Okay, c out v of I with a spacing. Fair enough. Now this should be done. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have this. Now we would also learn about a little more things. Now what is this thing? We have a vector of 4, 2, 1 and 3. So this was v dot begin. This was begin plus 1, this was begin plus 2, this was begin plus 3, and this is begin plus 4. So we can simply write begin plus 3 and it would be the same thing. Now we would learn about one more thing. Okay, what is that? We would learn about custom comparators. Okay, custom comparators. Okay, or it is also known as custom sorting. Okay, custom sorting. Yeah, we would talk about that. Okay, now suppose I want to sort the array, but on the basis of something else. Suppose in the default sorting, what is the default one? The default would always produce the sorted array in ascending order. Okay, and we want to sort it according to the descending order. Okay, we want in this. How will we do that? Anyone has any idea? Okay, we can have that by doing like this. Okay, first I would do it and then I would explain it to you. Okay, so we have a boolean. What is boolean? Boolean basically tells us that if it is true or if it is false. Then we would just write it CMP because I'm quite used to it. Then we would have int a and we would have int b itself. Okay, if a is less than b, return false, else we would return true. Return true itself. Yeah, we can reverse, but we want to learn about custom comparators. Okay, we want to reverse, or we can just write greater int and these all things, but we want to learn about custom comparators. Okay, so what we did was we passed an additional function name. What is this function name? The function name is CMP and we are passing two values. We are taking two integers as parameters. If the first number is less than the second number, we are passing false. If it is greater than the next number, we are passing true. First we would print it and then we would see it what happened. Okay, so what does this, why does this happen and how this happens? Okay, I would explain you. This is happening because we have passed on a custom function to this. Okay, why this custom function and what is this custom function? This would tell the program or the sorting that when should A be placed before B. I remembered this custom comparator thing by remembering this line. When should A be placed before B? Okay, and we would pass the name. So क्या बोला मैंने कि कब A B के पहले रहेगा. ठीक है, A जब when A is less than B, जब इधर का नंबर छोटा है तब नहीं फॉल्स कर दो. जब A बड़ा है, इस तरफ का नंबर बड़ा है इस तरफ के नंबर से, ठीक है, चलेगा पार कर दो. वी आर राइटिंग ट्रू इटसेल्फ. ओके, फेयर इनफ. नाउ quickly tell me if you have understood this thing or not, because अगर आपको CP करनी है, CP क्या है? If you want to do competitive programming, okay, if you want to do competitive programming, then this is absolutely very necessary. So please tell me if you have understood this or not. Custom comparator को ये याद रखो कि when should the first number be placed before the second number. बस इतना रखो याद and this is absolutely fine. और फिर उसको पास कर दो. Okay, उसको पास कर दो and this is done. Okay, चल जल्दी बताओ. We have less people now. We have 38 people now. Okay, by the way, for the people who are not getting for the people who think that at this time of the night I'm still explaining to you without anything, okay, I deserve a comment. Please like this video and comment this video if possible from your side. If not, it's absolutely fine. Okay, swap the parameters. Yeah, this is what you're doing. Yeah. So, and remember to fill the feedback form, because what happens is, suppose I just finished the stream, थोड़ा chill करने का मन करता है, and then I start seeing all your comments, all the things that you have told, and it brings a smile on the face, and yes, you are making a difference, and that feels great, to be honest. So please do comment on the feedback form. What happens inside sort function with the CMP? Okay, that is a good question. Thanks a lot, Hera Izaz. Okay, I will not advise doing CP in Python. Why? Because the execution time is absolutely very slow. Okay, can this be helpful in Java? Yeah, this is helpful in Java. Okay, basically what is the thing is that whenever you use a sorting algorithm, okay, there is a comparison thing. मतलब कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा होगा कि we are comparing a value with the other value, and the basis of that comparison we are putting that value forward or before. Suppose Hera is smaller than me. Okay, just see, just assume, suppose Hera is smaller than me. So what I did is I moved towards Hera, ask her height, and remember my height. We compare both the height. Whoever is smaller would sit in front. That is the thing. We are doing a comparison. Okay, we are doing a comparison, and this thing. Okay, so now till this point this should be clear. Now quickly tell me, if I want to sort this on the default by using a comparator, what would be done is nothing, just itna likh do, return. So okay, so this has a smaller function too, which many people use it. So what is the smaller function? Let me just comment it, and then I would be able to explain you. Okay, so what you can do is return A is greater than B, and this would work the same. Return A is greater than B. Okay, see, this is working same. इतना सब के लिखने की जगह A is greater than B. What do I mean by this? If the first number is greater than the second number, this is equal to true. If the first number is less than the second number, that is, this condition is not true, then this condition would automatically turn into false. Okay, suppose I am talking to my girlfriend. Okay, then this is true, but I have a girlfriend, this is false. Okay, like this only. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, greater int can be used to sort it. Yeah, my friend is doing CP in Python and codes faster than me and gets a higher ranking. Yeah, in CP, if you are solving the initial 2-3 problems, then he would be having an edge, that yes, it would take less time to solve it. But if you go towards the difficult question, then he would be taking time. Okay, now let me give you an example that yes, there is proper ways by which you can speed up your coding in C++. Let me show you a trailer of that. So suppose my question is, what I want is, I want to take an int n, c in n, a, and take the input of the array and then print it. What I would do is e1 of n and then a of n, and then what I would do is pa of a. I just write these 3 words, and this is done, and this is done. See, and I have the output. Okay, if I don't print this array, then this won't be printed. This is working. Okay, this is working. Okay, so by defining all the macros with proper ways, you can do this too. In this, I am taking the input and int n and c in n. In this, I am declaring an array of size n, then using a for loop, I am taking the input of them, and pa means that I am printing the array. Okay, so this is the way by which you can shorten or just take very less time to solve an easy question. 2D or 3D array comparator function, how to write? Please tell, sir. 2D and 3D array would be taught when we would be talking about DP. Okay, so please be till that point. Okay, now, okay, so now we would be moving forward with a thing known as merge sort. Merge sort uses the principle that a single element is a sorted element. Single element is a sorted element. Sir, can you share your macro file? Yes, sure, why not? Don't call me sir. भाई बोलोगे शेयर कर दूंगा. Okay, लड़कियां भाई मत बोलना. Single हूँ अभी भी. Okay, fair enough. Just joking. Just text me on LinkedIn. I would share the macros of mine. Okay, a single element is a sorted element. So what we basically do is we are telling that yes, this merge sort is a divide and conquer algorithm, and a single element is sorted element. What these all things mean? Okay, these all things mean that we are given an array and उस देखो divide and conquer बहुत पुराने से आ रहा है. Divide and conquer is done on from a very history. Okay, fair enough. So what is the thing is that, so we take different small elements, we part the array in small segments, and when the segment is so small that is already sorted, basically we are trying to tell that the segment is having a single element. I would show you the visual representation of that. Then it is already sorted, and then what we are doing is we are kind of merging the sorted ones, and then we would be having that. Okay, now let me show you the implementations of that. 4, 2, 1 and 3. So what I would be doing is I would be dividing this array. Dividing this array means that this is 4, 2 and this is 1, 3. Okay, then I would be again dividing this array. Okay, and now this would be 4, this would be 2, this is 1 and this is 3. And if we talk about 4 is sorted, 2 is sorted, 1 is sorted, 3 is sorted. Now just before returning, 4 and 2 is what? 4 and 2 would be converted to 2 and 4. Sort कर दो, मतलब जो sorted चीज को merge कर दो. Then we have 1 and 3. 1 and 3 is already sorted. So we have 1 and 3. And then we have 2 and 3, 1 and 4. So just merge these two sorted arrays. Okay. Now this would be what? 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 kiya. This is sorted, and this is how this whole merge sort is done. Now merge sort is, this is why the merge sort is known as divide and conquer algorithm, because ये एक array को छोटे segments में तोड़ता है, फिर उनको जोड़ता है, फिर उनको सब problems में तोड़ के उन्हें एक बड़ा problem solve कर लेता है. This is why it is known as merge sort. Okay, tell me if this thing is clear or not. Yeah, like recursion. Yeah, like recursion. Okay, fair enough. So I won't be doing the coding part. Okay, why? Because the coding part is on the very bit lengthy side. Rather, I would be focusing on the next parts. Okay, so quickly tell me, 11:21 हो चुका है and I'm feeling a little sleepy. I had my semester exams today. So थोड़ी जल्दी बताओगे? So we would just increase the pace a little bit. थोड़ी जल्दी बताओ. Okay. The stream health is absolutely very fine. We have been streaming for the last 49 minutes and the CPU usage is very less and we are streaming at 30 FPS. Okay, सबको नींद आ गया क्या? Many people are feeling sleepy. We are only having 3 to 4 people responding. सबको नींद आ गया ना? हेरा, रूफस और सुधांशु को हमेशा नींद से उठाना पड़ता है. उठो भाई उठो, बताओ. Okay, then we have counting sort. Okay, what is this counting sort is that? So we have 4, then we have 2, we have 1 and we have 3. So this counting sort is nothing, but we rather keep a count. Okay, like we would keep a count that yes, 4 is 2 times, 2 is once and 1 is once and then 3 is once. अब जो काउंट किया उसको सॉर्टेड वे में लिख दो. We would first write it 1, and then we would write 2, then we would write 3, and then we would have 4 and 4. This is why this is sorted. And writing the frequency, first we would have this hash the value, hash the value, hash the value, hash the value, hash the value. This is why we would be doing big O of n iterations, and the number of elements we would be writing it and लिख दो. So telling this in Hindi is क्या करना है ना कि पहले सब कुछ गिन लो. सोचो मुझे पता चल गया कि ए के नाम से इतना है, बी के नाम से इतना है, सी के नाम से इतना है, डी के नाम से इतना है, एफ के नाम से इतना है. नाउ व्हाट आई वुड डू इज ए के नाम के सारा को लिख दो, बी के नाम के सारा को लिख दो, उसके बाद सी वाले को लिख दो, डी वाले को लिख दो, ई वाले को लिख दो. दिस इज व्हाट वी आर डूइंग. नाउ दिस इज गेटिंग कंप्लीटेड बाय दिस. ओके, दिस इज बेसिकली व्हाट इज काउंटिंग सॉर्ट. ओके, Sid, you are GFG king. No, I am not GFG king. Sandeep sir is GFG king. He made GFG. He is the founder of GFG. I am not the founder of GFG. Okay, custom sort is already explained. Fair enough. So let's move forward with searching. Searching. What do I mean by searching? Suppose I have 9, I have 7, I have 6, I have 4, and then I have 3. Okay. So now if I ask that find 5 in the array. Is there 5 in the array? By the way, thanks a lot, Sahil. Okay, is there a 5 in the array? No, there is no 5 in the array. Okay, there is no 5 in the array. So we would be just saying that yes, there is no 5. So ये कैसे पता लगाया? We are coming to this element. This is equal to 5. No, this is not equal to 5. This is equal to 5. No, this is not equal to 5. This is equal to 5. No, this is not equal to 5. This is equal to 5. No, this is not equal to 5. This is equal to 5. No, this is not equal to 5. So we would remove this. Okay. So ये जो सारे elements पे जा रहे हैं, check कर रहे हैं if it is equal to the element we are trying to find or not. तो this is known as what? This is known as linear search. Linear search. Now let us talk a bit about linear search. Linear search मतलब क्या? We are going to each element, we are comparing it, and then we are telling that if this element is equal to this or not, if this element is equal to this or not. Okay, so सारे elements को consider करना पड़ेगा. So at max we would be doing time complexity is big O of n, and space complexity तो कुछ है ही नहीं, because the array that is given we are using that array only. So the space complexity is big O of 1 only. Okay, which data structure is used for implementing counting sort? In counting sort you can use different data structures. Okay, so array can be used, map can be used, unordered map can be used, multiset can be used, any data structure can be used. Do you want an example how to implement counting sort? If you want, I can show you. Okay, so you now know what is searching. Okay. Now what is linear search, what is the time complexity of linear search, and what is the space complexity of linear search. Now we would talk about a very important, very important. If you just bear with me for the next 10 to 15 minutes, then you would be learning about a very important concept, and kind of this concept is absolutely very necessary. Okay, so let us talk about 1, and then we have 5, then we have 7, then we have 11, then we have 13 itself. Okay, fair enough. Now suppose we are trying to find 7. Okay, let's not try to find 7, let's try to find 5 itself. Okay, counting sort, yes please. Okay, fair enough, we would do that. Okay, just thoda sa wait karo. Okay, so this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4 itself. Okay, and I want to find 5 in the array. I want to find 5 in the array. So what I would do is I would go, and this array is already sorted. So if an array is already sorted and then we are given an element that is to be found in the array, then what will we do? What algorithm should be used to search this particular element in the array itself? Quickly tell me. What should be used to found this array? Yes, Manav Verma is absolutely very correct. So we should be using a thing known as binary search. Okay, so binary search the algorithm of binary search should be the algorithm of binary search should be learned by heart. Okay, so we first take out the mid. Okay, we first take out the mid. What is the value of mid? Mid is equals to left plus right divided by 2, and then we also have right, left, and we also have right itself. So right would be 0 and the left would be 4 itself. Okay, so 0 plus 4 divided by 2, doing the integer division, would make it 2. So we would first go to 2 itself. Is 7 equals to 5? No, 7 is not equal to 5. Okay, suppose array के बीच में आया, we would just check. Okay, तो जो element था, वो जो element जिसको हम लोग खोज रहे थे उससे बड़ा है, and we want to find the element which is less than the current element. So we need to go in which direction? इधर जाएंगे तो उससे बड़ा ही मिलेगा, 7 से बड़ा. 7 से बड़ा में तो हमारा element रहेगा नहीं. If we go on the left hand side, we would find an element which is equal to 7, which is equals to 5. We might find an element. So better is to go on the left hand side. So now R would remain the same and L would be equal to 1 itself. L change ho gaya. Okay, now 0 plus 1 divided by 2 is equals to 0 only. Okay, 0.5, taking the integer part of it would make it 0 only. Now is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. So इधर जाऊंगा तो और less से मिलेगा. So we need to go on which direction? We need to go on the right hand side. So we would be coming on the right hand side. So now this 0 would remain same and this 1 would be there, and then we have one element left to check. So that is why we would say that yes, 5 is present in the array itself. Okay, that is it. Okay, so there are few constraints of using binary search. Okay, the constraints are array should be sorted. Array should be sorted. This is the constraint. Okay, searching if there in there, we start from then counting sort is used in very specific cases only. If you want to sort a string of letters, search space aggregate. Yes, right. Yeah. Okay, so the array should be sorted. Okay, now this is it. Okay, so you can quickly learn about binary search. Binary search is very easy. Okay, so still I would show you the code of binary search. So coding part of binary search is very, so what I would do is I would initialize a left pointer, I would initialize a right pointer, and we would take a while loop while left is less than right itself. Then we would implement a mid is equals to left plus right divided by 2, and then we would do what? If a of mid is equal to the target element, okay, then we would simply see out and break, see out the current element, and then we would break from this point. Okay, and if it is not that case, okay, if a of mid is less than the target, a of mid is less than the target, so target जो है वो mid से बड़ा है, so we need to go on the right hand side because इस side में बड़े elements रखे हुए हैं. So right would be, so left, sorry, this is left, this is right. Okay, so left would be mid plus 1. Left is equals to mid plus 1, or if it is not that case, then right would be mid minus 1. And this would go on, and this is the simple code of binary search. Quickly digest it and tell me if this thing is clear or not. And then we would implement counting sort. Then we would learn about monotonous function, and then the stream would end after a little bit of chit chat. Yes, we have successfully compared. We have successfully taken the condition of low value. We have successfully taken the condition of high value. What is the time and complexity if we use the complexity, if we use binary search? So basically binary search से हो क्या रहा? What are we doing in binary search? So we have A1, we have A2, we have A3, we have A4, and we have A5. So what are we doing is, we are dividing the array into two halves. Then उसके भी टुकड़े बन जाएंगे, उसके भी टुकड़े बन जाएंगे, उसके भी टुकड़े बन जाएंगे, उसके भी टुकड़े बन जाएंगे. So basically इतना बड़ा array है, and then we are having a small bit of it, and then we a small bit of it, and then small bit of it. Okay, so छोटा 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 half में divide हो रहा. Whenever it is divided by half, then the time complexity would be log n. Okay, so time complexity is log of n, and the space complexity is big O of 1, that is constant. Why? Because we aren't taking any extra arrays or something. We are directly just using the L and R and the variables itself, and variables don't account into space complexity. So basically this is where we are doing. Okay, thanks a lot Aryan, it means a lot. Okay, so this thing is done. Now we would simply do a thing known as counting sort. Okay, so we have many problems in counting sort. What is the problem is that we need to store the frequency of each of the available elements. To store the frequency of each of the available elements, if that is, suppose this is A, B, C, D. If this is B, C, A, and then D, we can simply do it. How we can do it? Because there is ASCII value associated with each letter itself. So this has a ASCII value, this has a ASCII value, this has a ASCII value, this has a ASCII value. So I would just write A is equals to 2, B is equals to 1, C is equals to 1, and then D is equals to 2. I would start from the front, and then I would write A, B, C, and D, D. But when we would try to hash the values, like a vector or something, like an array or string, then we need to use a data structure known as map. If we are using the data structure known as map, then map has a time complexity of log of n. So each element का query करने में we are using a time complexity of log of n. So each element मतलब n elements पे log of n. So that is n log n, n into log n. That is it. That is why the time complexity would be n log n. So better is to use the normal sorting only. Okay, fair enough. Thank you for the explanation. Why we use h instead of, why we use h is equal to mid minus 1 instead of mid. This is because mid is already compared. मैं यहाँ पर खड़ा हूँ. I know that yes, this position is already being checked. If mid check हो जा रहा है, then better is to leave that position unchecked for the rest of the iteration. That is why this mid is not being tested. Okay, fair enough. Now it's time for a little bit of chit chat, and then the stream would be ending. Okay, so start करते हैं countdown. बहुत हो गया पढ़ाई. So बताओ, if you want to ask anything, you can ask. Else I would turn off this session after 2 minutes. Fair enough? Okay, it means a lot. Thanks a lot, Ria. Sir, I searched and found the stack and queue are implemented using list in Python. Okay, that's good. Absolutely, that's great. Okay, you learn to, I learned to. Okay, sir mat bolo, you can call me Sid because I'm not that much accustomed with sir thing. Okay, fair enough. So 1.5 minute baki hai. We still have 1.5 minutes. You can still ask me anything. Okay, now I would provide you the practice question, but I need something in written. What is that something? I want feedback from you, and I welcome criticism. Okay, you can criticize me too. If you criticize me, I would take that criticism positively and I would improve. If you appreciate me, it would act as a motivation for me and I would perform better for the community. So in both ways, I am getting benefited. So please try to benefit me by, okay, task diya karo daily. That is absolutely very important. So whenever we talk about daily task, we can talk about problem of the day. Each day a problem is given in Geeks for Geeks practice portal, and the next day at 3 p.m. IST sharp you are given the editorial to it. Not just this, but if you solve this problem for a continuous span of time without skipping, then you would also get gift hampers from Geeks for Geeks itself. So some of my peers asked that my map approach is not that much appreciated in coding interviews. Is that really true? Yes, map is not that much appreciated if you are using unordered map. Why? Because unordered map has an average time complexity of big O of n, but the worst time complexity is big O of n square. That is why you should always try to use map in coding interviews as well as in online judges rather than using unordered map. Okay, good night Aryan, good night. Okay, that's it. I'm quite devastated. Please try to provide the feedback for me. I would be reading your feedback. I take each and every feedback into consideration. Sir, do we get a certificate? Skills dekhe karo na. Why do we need a certificate? If you want a certificate, I would give you the certificate. Please tell the prerequisite for your next lecture. Okay, I would tell the prerequisite for the next lecture in the email only. Okay. Okay. I don't think you would be getting a certificate, but if you still want a certificate, I can issue that from Geeks for Geeks. That's absolutely fine with me. You're most welcome, Hera. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Rishi. Okay, so I would be ending the stream now. Good night, everyone. Sweet dreams. Okay, keep hustling, keep coding. I would keep you updated in the email thread.